What's up, everybody? This is Jesse Lee with a very exciting case study for you today. This case study is how I helped a YouTuber make $65,305 in online course sales in 7 days flat. This video is for all you, anybody who has an audience, whether you're YouTuber, Instagrammer, X, you have you're on a Discord channel, you have an audience and you want to do some sort of product launch, online course, or maybe some other sort of product. This case study is for you. I'm going to give you the exact framework and everything we did to make this happen. But first, I want to just show you the results. I want to show you some proof that we actually did this. We just finished the launch. It is Wednesday, September 5th, and we finished the launch at 11:59 p.m. last night, September 24th, 2024. It was a 7-day launch. Here is the account of the client, which I'll go over who that is in a little bit. It's a guy named Chris Jasper. And so we use Klaviyo for the email list. And as you can see, just from email sales, we generated about 46,000, and total sales was about $65,000. And so, yeah, really excited to share this whole case study with you. Super excited for this. All right. So now by the end of this, I'm going to give you the exact framework that you need to launch your own product, right? You're going to have all the tools, everything necessary to go and launch yourself. Super excited to share this with you. And so this means we're going to go over the timing. We're going to go over the how we laid the groundwork to kind of get people excited, what we did for our early adopters, all that stuff, the research we did before actually launching the course to know that we should launch a course. There's tactics for all this where you actually do the, some pre-launch work. So we're going to give you all that. We're going to give you the timing, the email scripts, all the framework will be here. Speaking of that, I want to be able to let you follow along. So while I'm going to show the stuff on my screen, you can also download the framework if you look down below here, right? If you're on my website, I'll post it there. Or if you're on YouTube or some other platform, I'll include a link somewhere here that you can click to go be able to download that. The other thing I'm also going to include when I have a moment to actually interview Chris is I'm going to interview Chris, and I'll post that on the website as well. So again, wherever you're at, if you're on YouTube or X or any other platform, if you look somewhere around, probably below, you'll be able to see the link, and you'll be able to go over and watch his full interview as well. So you can get it straight from the horse's mouth. So very excited to share this. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So first, let's talk about the YouTuber. I want you guys to meet Chris Jasper, Christopher. He's the voice behind the Gregorian Chant Academy. So if you're thinking you might have a weird niche that you're not sure if you can sell in, this guy sells courses on how to do Gregorian chants, which is very, very, very niche, right? So let me just go over to his YouTube channel so I can show you a little bit about him. Here's his channel. As you can see, he's got about 44,000 subscribers. Now, typically, I like to try to work with people who have more, maybe 50 to 100,000. He was a little under, but he started going viral because he made some videos and they started getting a ton of views. So he actually had a ton of traffic coming from his YouTube, right? His YouTube channel. He was getting about, when I first came across him, I think he was getting about 70,000 views per month, something like that. So if you are in this range, or maybe you're a little above, maybe you have 100,000 or something, if you're getting, in the 50,000, 70,000 views per month and wondering if this is going to work for you, it worked for him. So it'll work for you, right? So, and by the way, this is not the only one. I'm going to have more case studies available when I have time to record them. But this is iterable, and I've proven it over and over. This is probably the fourth time I've done this with YouTube specifically. I've done other launches, but YouTube specifically where we've really crushed it. So especially if you're a YouTuber, like this is going to work for you. Okay, so there's Chris Jasper. Let's go on. Okay, I want to talk just real briefly about the strategy, and a lot of it has to do with the timing, right? Now, the launch itself is about 7 days, and we're going to go into that. Will be in the framework, and we're going to go into that as we move down this case study. 7 days is a really nice time. You can do a little longer. I've done 10 days. You could also do 14 days. We found that we don't like it to be too long because then it just drags out. and it loses kind of some momentum. So I really love my 7-day launches. I think that they perform really well. Now there's maybe a few weeks to a month or so of groundwork you have to lay before that, and that's what we're also going to go into. And all right, so in terms of setting the stage, what were our goals for this, right? Well, as we already mentioned, Chris already had an audience, about 44,000 subscribers, but he started getting millions of views. He was struggling with monetizing from YouTube because Google AdSense is really finicky. It's really hard to it's just really hard to set up. Part of the issue is he'd been acquired by another organization called the Floriani, which and so they were struggling to try to get the right account with the AdSense. Very frustrated with trying to monetize through YouTube. Very frustrated. So, and the guys, Chris and the guys, they didn't know what to do. So I wanted to show them, okay, like, how do we do this? Let's, create a course. He had actually created a course a while ago, but it wasn't selling very much. Like, what we did in this 7 days was more than he had sold in probably the last 1 or 2 years. In fact, I'm almost certain of that. I don't have the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure. All right. So that was the first thing. Second thing, we went on to test the idea, right? While he had launched courses in the past, this was a brand new one that we had not really sunk our teeth into. And so we wanted to make sure that his audience would actually pull out their credit cards and buy. That's a big, important part. It's called validating, right? You want to validate your idea. The next part was revenue. Obviously, if you validate your idea, people are actually buying. That's a really good sign. But you also want to make sure a lot of people are buying. And so our main goal here was revenue generation. And then the last thing was, could we grow the audience a little bit? And we did. We grew our email list quite a bit. So we'll go over some of those results in a little bit. Okay. So the launch process, I do want to go over the framework here. And let me just cover what's on this slide real quick. So we do something called the primer, which is a survey to basically try to start building your early adopter list. And then once you have done the survey and you're building your early adopter list, you take the results from the survey and you do a pre-launch of some sort of useful content for your audience. And what this is kind of gives them a taste of what's going to be in the course. Now, and then that all leads up to, so you're starting the launch primer and the pre-launch 2 to 4 weeks before you actually start the 7-day launch, right? And then on day 7, we close up shop, and that's it. We give people a hard deadline on when they have to act, right? So let me show you what that framework looks like. So again, remember that we're using primarily YouTube here. We had a little bit of an Instagram audience, but here's what we were doing. Basically, we had an early adopter page that we wanted to send people to. And then once they got on that early adopter page, we actually sent them to a survey, right? And two things happen. When they would submit, they would get redirected to a survey. So after somebody puts their email address in, they get sent to this survey. And then we actually log them on a Google Sheet because we want that feedback and I'll show you the survey that we launched. This survey is really, really important. And then we also put them on an email list so that we could easily reach them later, right? So now, after they submitted the survey, we said, thank you for your feedback. And then this shouldn't be here. This is not. Basically what would end up happening is after they submitted this, this is actually not written out totally right. After this early adopter page, they would go to this thank you for your feedback. And they would also get sent that basically a message, depending on where they were at. They would go to a page that said, please check your email to confirm your subscription, right? And these paths are a little bit off, so that's fine. But we would also send an email out to them that was basically like, hey, just, check your email and make sure you're subscribed, right? So this actually would be more appropriate is after they submit here. This submit button would send them the email. Oh, whoops. Sorry about that. So as you can see, I'm doing this very much on the fly. This submit button would actually lead to this email. So that's better. So they submit, they get put on the list, they get sent to the early adopter form. And then at the same time, they get sent this welcome email. And at the end of it all, they get an important message that says, please, check your email to confirm your subscription. And then they confirm here, right? So that's the first step, right? And then that's what I call the primer. This is where you're just letting people know what is going on. And I'm going to jump into this survey here, and let's just go ahead and do it now. So I have this survey here. I'll link to this, and you'll be able to see. Obviously, we got a lot of results. We got 630 people submitting, and the question was this. Here's the question. Basically, why are you interested in Gregorian chant? And then when it comes, so we wanted to get what their goal was, right? When you go to do your copywriting, it's really important to have exactly what is in the mind of your audience, which is why we asked this question this way. Why are you interested in blah, blah, blah? And then this line, when it comes to learning and mastering Gregorian chant, what's the main challenge or roadblock that you face, right? So we then took all of those and we analyzed them to see what our audience's biggest problems were. And when we did that, we came up with some really amazing stuff about like what we should probably do for our course. The amazing thing about this survey is it gives us everything we need to know what to pitch our audience. And we found that for example, we found one of the biggest issues they were facing was that they didn't know how to read something called square notation. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Gregorian chant, it doesn't look like today's music. It's written in these funky squares. It's a very early style of music, and that's what his audience was having issues with. So we knew that when we went to the next step, which I'm going to go over here, this pre-launch step where we create a sort of almost like a mini workshop, right? We create that so that we can get people amped, right? And so here's the funnel of how we did that. We took everyone's biggest problems and we made a free workshop out of it. We posted it on YouTube, and then we also posted it on our Wix site, right? And so we could set in the YouTube video, if you want to, we actually put some downloadables here. I'm going to show you momentarily. We linked it over to our website, and then we had this email form written up as well on that same page so that people could also, again, opt into the early adopter list. So as soon as they opt in here, they go through, they get this welcome email, and then they get redirected to this page that says, important, please check your email. And then once they check their email, they get hit with this, it's confirmed you've been added to our early adopter list. So not only are we using the first step to build the early adopter list, but because he had such a massive YouTube following, we thought, well, let's put it there too and link people to the website. And then this page here, the Wix page, we also used Instagram because we had somewhat of an Instagram following to link over there. And then we also used this email to send another announcement. Now, this email, who did this email go to? This email went to the same people that opted in here for this first survey that filled out the form and filled out the Google, and then got categorized in the Google sheet. So this is all really, really good information so far. And then, before we move on, let me just show you that. So again, the first thing we did was we sent people to this survey. And this was day one of about a 4 or 5 week sequence, right? And so then about 2 weeks later is when we took all that, made a really good free workshop out of it, and we posted that, right? So this is what we posted, and the bait we used was here. Click here to get download the PDF resources. So when people are on YouTube, we actually could say, look down below, click here for the resources, and they came over here. Right. And you'll notice we put, again, what we found were the biggest issues, in struggling to sing Gregorian chant. We actually put them here. So I told you square notation was one of the problems. Another one we saw is like people, they didn't have a lot of time to do this. Right. So we wanted to make something where they could get it done without hours of practice. So that's why we put that in the headline. Right. And then the other one is that a lot of people they didn't have confidence because they never had any, quote, formal music training, right? And so that's why we put that in the headline. So what we did with those survey results, we took them and tried to cater education to address those specific pain points. And that's one of the secrets to this. And then here's that form. If you click this goes to, this is where we had the wait list, right? So this is the course page, but right now it's in wait list because the course is unpublished. So when people would opt in here, that's when they would get that, okay, thank you for signing up for the early adopter list. Now it's a wait list, but it was what we termed early adopter list. But it's no longer early adopter because we already launched, right? So that's the second one. That's this pre-launch campaign. We took all of the feedback from the survey, made a really nice piece of pre-launch content, and he spent some time on it. It was probably a good 30-minute tutorial. And it's, I mean, one of the benefits of this is that he got a ton of views from it, like a ton, right? So, all right, so that's step 2, right? So this step 1 happens, day 1. Step 2 happens day 7, maybe day 14, something like that. So you want to put 1 or 2 weeks between here, and you don't want to space things out too much because people will forget about you, but you don't want to put them too close together because you want to give them time to absorb this, which is why I tend to do between steps 1 and 2, I tend to do about a 1-week waiting period, right? So that pre-launch campaign, and by the way, the script on that, here's how it ties in, is that we say the messaging is, he gives a bunch of education, and then he says, like you saw on this page, basically at the end of this video, he says, well, hey, if you like this, do you want to take your chanting, this should be chanting, to the next level? Wow, I can't believe we misspelled that. See, even the pros misspell, ladies and gentlemen, even the pros. Even want to take your chanting to the next level, click below to learn more about the Gregorian Chant Masterclass, right? And so that's exactly how he finished his video. He gave the whole tutorial, and at the end he said, hey, this is a small taste of what we're actually going to be launching in our course. And this is really how you want to design your pre-launch content, is you want to have it seamlessly feed into whatever the thing you're going to be selling is. Because if people are interested in this, they're definitely going to be interested in that, because that's like an upgraded version of it. So there's a lot of conceptual things going on here, right? So what was the next step? Okay, we got people excited. People are on the list. This took, about 2 weeks to 2 or 3 weeks to complete all of that. And then now you do your launch, what we call the open cart. This is sort of a Jeff Walker style open cart. And this is where you go to all of the channels you have. For us, it was email, again, Instagram and YouTube. And you make an announcement promoting, hey, our course is totally live now, right? And then we went from the video. So we wrote what's called a VSL. It's a video sales letter. We wrote a nice long video sales letter addressing all the people who were on the early adopter list and anybody else who's interested. We said, hey, if you're struggling with square notation, if you're struggling with confidence because you don't have any musical training, if you're struggling with not being able to practice all the time because it takes too long, this course is going to be good for you, right? And then after we did that, we sent people to the actual product page where they could purchase. And then after they purchase, they hit a thank you page. This actually download button's not on the page because it's not downloadable. It's streamable. But that's essentially, and they also get a welcome email here. So they actually, as soon as they purchase, they get another email. But this is like basically the basic funnel, right? Now let me show you that page. Let's go over to the full sales page here. Gregorian Chant Masterclass. All right. Now, notice the headline is similar to the last one. We called out people who they didn't have any confidence because they did not have any professional, training of any sort. They didn't go to music college, right? So this was our headline: transform your singing, master Gregorian chant with easy, no experience required, right? So, and then, so we recorded this video. I'll post this. You can go and look at it. This is still public. If it's not public, it might be unlisted, but I'll include the links. That way you can get to it and see exactly how we wrote that up. And then if I can do that, I might I'll see if I can get permission from Chris, because we spent a lot of time on a really good sales video. I might be able to get you guys the video script. So don't plagiarize, though. I'm going to give you guys, by the way, I'm giving you all these resources and everything. Please don't plagiarize. That's all I ask. This copywriting took a long time and a lot of research. So please, if you're going to write your own versions, paraphrase, because you don't have rights to our stuff. That's why. So I don't have to explain anymore. All right. So, and then this, so this was the first page. That was that video sales letter. And then when you click here, this goes over to the actual product page. Again, this is now a wait list, but this said purchase before. Now, I normally don't like to go one of these individual pages here. I like to go straight to the payment processor. But because of this platform, we had to go to this course description page first. Ideally, you would link straight from the video sales letter directly to the checkout. So, right. So there's that. So that's the open, right? And then the rest of the announcements. So this falls, the open cart announcement falls, again, 1 or 2 weeks after the pre-launch campaign, right? Which we had set as August 29th. Some arbitrary dates in here. So whatever you want to start with your primer campaign, 1 to 2 weeks later, do step 2, where you do the pre-launch after you've gotten results. And then after that, you do the launch. And then over the course of 1 week, then you do the mid-cart announcement, right? So you announce to everyone on the first day, and then somewhere in the middle, maybe if you're doing a 7-day launch, you'd probably want to do day 3 or 4, where you're actually sending another message to remind people. So you want to make sure that they actually get the email. Not everyone's going to see that first email. And so that's why you got to make sure to do this, right? And then on the last one, basically you send actually 2 messages, right? You have the last day for us, we sent one in the morning, and then we sent another one in the evening. And I'm going to show you these emails in just a moment. I'm going to show you the results we got from each email. There's some that are still being loaded. I'm going to go into Klaviyo in just a minute. Now, the last one, the close cart, is after people have gone through and they purchased, right? At midnight, we cut this off, right? So what ends up happening is we had 9 a.m. If you want to do multiple, you can. This would be 6, not 3 p.m., 6 p.m. So some people will email 3 times on the close cart day. We just did twice. So we omitted this 3 p.m. emailing. We did one at 9 a.m. and about 7 p.m., right? So these can shift a little bit. But the main thing you want to make sure is that people have to know that it's the last day. So if you're only going to send one, I would suggest sending it earlier in the day, between 6 and 9 a.m. That way people see it the rest of the day whenever they open up, right? And then we also posted that to Instagram. We actually did not bother posting to YouTube because YouTube, I've found that it kind of takes a good 24 hours for views to really kick in on a YouTube channel. And so if we posted at 3 p.m., right, or whatever, then people might not see that video for a couple days. So we chose, you can if you want. It certainly is not going to hurt, but just, it was an extra lift for us, and we had to be realistic about how much work we could do. So we thought that our best efforts were for 9 a.m., an evening one, 7 p.m., and then an Instagram post, right? And then we sent them again to the same video sales page, same funnel, right? But as soon as midnight hit, and we did this midnight Eastern time, as soon as midnight hit, what would happen is this page would then redirect to the wait list, right? So if they go to the course order page, it's not going to be there anymore. They're going to see that wait list. Again, if we go to where is it? Media platform. So now this is where people automatically get redirected to now that we've closed. This is a really important step. This is really, really important because you spent all this time generating a bunch of hype to sell your course and it actually starts selling. What's going to happen is what happened with us is people are going to barely miss it, but they still want to be involved. And this is how you start building your wait list for the next time that you launch. So this last step, please do not skip this. This is one of the most important things. I had one launch I did with a YouTuber. He had a smaller audience, very small early adopter list. But on his very first launch, he made $12,000 in 7 days, and he almost didn't do any extra work to build his wait list other than rerouting people. And on the very next launch, he did, again, there was no extra pre-launch campaign or anything like that. He just relaunched with a quick email. He just set a deadline for people, and he didn't go through the whole launch process. But just from this wait list, he made about 10 grand on the second launch, right? So again, he has a much smaller audience, but this is an incredibly important thing, is for your audience to get somewhere. You don't want to frustrate them and have them hit a 404 error. You don't want to have them, say like, oh, the course isn't there. I'm just going to leave. And they're annoyed that it's no longer available. You want to give them a soft landing and a way to stay informed, right? This is super, super important. So please do not skip that step, right? So now you have it. So let's just recap all of this stuff. We got the announcement, right? The early adopter page, going to some sort of survey. There's a few different ways to structure this. If you have a software that does surveying and email, then you might not need to do the separate Google form. But as soon as they opt in, they need to be let known that they're on that early adopter list. So you send them that email. And then after the survey, you can send them to a message that says, please, check your email. So that's step one. Step two is taking all those results and formatting them into something that's tasty for your audience, that gives them a clue about what the course is going to be about. You make that into a really great piece of educational content. And by the way, there's no hard selling in this one. Do whatever you do in this second, this pre-launch, do not do any hard selling. You want to provide amazing, amazing value through the whole thing, and only mention your course at the very end for the people who have stuck around that long, because those are the ones who are really, really interested. They are hungry. They want more, right? So you only give that up at the very end of the video. So, and then step three is you launch your open cart. Step four is you, launch, send your mid-cart announcement to email, Instagram, whatever platform you're using. In this mid-cart, you can also do lives. Like, we're going to start experimenting with doing some live streaming in the middle. That has tended to work really well I've seen that work really well. We didn't have the bandwidth to do it on our launch, but just know that that's also an option. And you can do that for any of these other steps too, if you're on a platform that does live streams. Again, mid-cart announcement. This is maybe 3 or 4 days into your 7-day launch. If you're doing a longer launch, you probably want to do it maybe 5 to 8, somewhere between 5 and 8 days, right? And then the last day, sending at least one in the morning. If you can send a second one, send it in the evening. And if you want to send a third one, you can. And then posting to whatever platform. So and then so as far as the emails that we sent, let me go into Klaviyo and just show you all of the everything that we did in there. So here we are in Klaviyo. Again, this is really amazing results. If we go down, you'll see we still don't have data on this last one because we literally just finished this launch. So I'm not sure how much we made for this last email. It's still calculating. But as you can see, I had August written in that. That was an old typo. But you can see we launched on September 17th, 2024. This is 8 days ago at this point. Again, it's September 25th at 1:43 p.m. right now. And we had a 55% open rate and $16,000 off of that first email. Now, here's the second email. And by the way, all these emails are going to be in the description in those resources. So if you want to read exactly again, please do not plagiarize, but you can have the copy for every single one of these emails. That's downloadable down below. So you can get exactly what we're saying and all the timing and everything. Okay, so the second one, $14,000. That did amazing. That was launched on Friday, right? And what ended up happening was we actually didn't see almost any sales come through this, maybe 1,000 on Friday. But then over the weekend, people ignored the email. But as soon as they got into work on Monday, everyone checked their email and we got a spike of sales. And this kicked up to 14,000. And then the closed cart email one was 14,000. Again, we're still, this data is a little bit behind, but the closed cart two, I'm not sure exactly how much that made, but so there you have that. if you guys have any questions on this, feel free to, in whatever way you see fit, whether it's in the description of whatever this YouTube video is, or if you see a help bar on my site, feel free to ask questions about this. I definitely want to answer anything. So that's the basic breakdown. That's it. So download the. So in terms of challenges, something that we came across is technical platform issues. A lot of support tickets saying like, oh well, just things like, well, people didn't get their emails, things like that. So when you're going through this, just make sure you're keeping an eye on your support queue, because you learn things every single time. The way you learn them oftentimes is your customers submit support tickets to tell you what's wrong. That's actually, that's an amazing way to grow, is just make sure you're taking care of your customer challenges, because that's going to give you the ability to optimize. The other technical issue we had is that there's some things with Google and Apple Pay not formatting phone numbers correctly for different countries. So we had buyers in the US, but we also had some in Australia, UK, Canada. And so there were some international issues with the phone number. And because of that, we were not able to integrate certain payment plans. But if you're using a good platform, these hopefully will not be issues. They have a custom coded platform that they're still doing. But if you're using something like GrooveFunnels or ClickFunnels or Podia or Kartra or any of those online course creator sort of drag and drop builders, these will theoretically not be an issue for you. So and then let's see. Again, the metrics, we already kind of went into these. I'll just go over them real quick again if you want to see the overview dashboard of the different revenue coming in on different days. And you could also see a little bit of list growth here. What's going on? This is taking a little bit to load. We might need to okay. Is it loading now? Come on, load. Okay, so this is kind of cool. When I was talking about that early adopter thing, we actually have had a little bit of a slapback where after we closed down, we still got new sales. And today we're over, we're over even more sales. I think we made another $800 today, something like that. So you can see all the sales coming in. There's day one, about $18,000 total. The mid cart was about 15,000, and then the final was 19,000. And then you can see the actual Klaviyo attributed revenue. So here's 18,000 total on the first day, but 16,000 came from our email list. This is why it's so important for you all to build an email list. Email lists are like king. They're amazing for doing product launches. So if you need help building an email list, look around on my website. I'm sure I've got some other resources about that. And if not, let me know and I'll put something up. Again, $15,000 came on the second day. You'd think a lot of it would come from the YouTube channel that has like 90,000 followers or 40,000 and millions of views, but a lot of it came from email. So this is why we go through that framework that I showed you to build out your early adopter list on email, is because this is the results you can get. And then the last day, again, we're at $19,000 and about 14,000, 75% of that came from our email list. So, And then we also built our overall email list. So if we come in here and we see, where is it? I want to show you some, there's a few different segments we have built out in here. All active subscribers. Okay, here we go. Over the course of this, remember, this is maybe this is about a month and a half long launch. And you'll see when we did the pre-launch campaign. So we started in early September. Let me see if I can switch. Okay, last 30 days. We're going to go last 30 days. So as you can see, we were down at 7,500. So we've grown our list by 500. Just since starting this launch. So that was just sort of a happy byproduct. So not only can you grow your email list, you get a ton of revenue. Yeah. So those are all the basic metrics. So let's move on to the next slide. Right. So actually, this kind of brings us to the end. I want to read state that you should download the launch framework below. And then if this is something you enjoyed and you want to get results like this, you can actually work with me, right? I want to be able to work with other people and help more people share their message to the world. So if you are, again, if you're a YouTuber, or maybe you have you're an Instagrammer or a TikToker or Discord or whatever it is, you have an audience that you built and you're not quite sure how to monetize it, you can schedule a free discovery call with me. This is something that works, again, not just for YouTubers. It can work in any industry too. Today we were talking about online courses, but I've also done e-commerce launches. So if you are wondering if e-commerce products work, we actually launched a physical CD for another one of my clients that you can find on my site somewhere. I'll link it as soon as I get that up, down below or somewhere on this page. So if you're wondering if that works for you, that was for a musician. So if you're wondering if you can sell music with this, absolutely. There's so many things you can do with this launch framework. So if you want to go super in depth and actually learn from the pros and go through this with me, then take a few minutes to click below, schedule a discovery session with me, and I'll be happy to get started working with you. So anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk soon.